Hey, good morning. Cornbread Man here on your Christmas Eve, coming live to you from the Cornbread Nation studios in North Georgia as we broadcast beside the river, the Cornbread Nation River, as it gently flows through the state of Georgia, emptying into parts unknown. We are happy to be here. Merry Christmas to you and hope that you're having a great day. If you've got to get out, be careful. It is always going to be crazy, and the later it gets, up until the hour that most things close, which there are some things that do not close, right? Waffle houses, they don't close. There are a few little stores, odds and ends, convenience stores, and there's a few odds and ends. There's a couple of restaurants out there that don't close besides the Waffle House. But most things they roll up shop, man. They lock the doors, pull the security gates down, put the bars up, all that good stuff, and let their employees have time off with their families, and should. I I have done a couple of holidays at on security at stores. It is amazing how many people think that they're open on Christmas Day. And I was one year I did Christmas and Thanksgiving, and I remember that on Christmas there must have been 250 cars pull into the parking lot. It was me and an officer. We were both required to be there because that was our day, and they still want the coverage even if you're just doing nothing. But the officer finally, and when someone would pull in, he would put his blue lights on and get on his intercom and say, "They are closed today." So many people there coming up, looking through the window, banging on the door, trying to open the doors. It's like there's this door. The store is blocked. There's dark. There's no lights on. Everything's locked. People are. It's that thing. If someone thinks that something is closed, it drives them crazy. It absolutely does. It's just like, come on, you got to open up. I got to get in. I got to have something. I was telling someone recently. I may have even said it on the podcast. I had a family that came in. I seen them leaving. They had a lot of groceries. I mean, like, I don't know, $200 or $400. I don't know. It's a lot. It's several $100s worth of food and stuff. And the lady pulls back up. Well, she sends her husband back up and tells the husband they forgot potatoes, and said, "Go get them." So I said, "I'm sorry, the store is closed." And he's like, "Oh, okay, sure, sorry, And he goes back to the car, and they pull up, and she is Miss Mouth. Let me tell you, she's like, "You told him that he couldn't come back in." I said, "That's correct. We're closed." She said, "Do you realize?" I said, "We just, people were trying to get out so we can lock the door, but we can't let nobody else in." She goes, "I just spent." She gave me to the cent, like something $100. I don't know if it's 200, 300 something dollars to the cent. 17 cents in there. And you mean to tell me that I can't go? We can't go back in and get potatoes? And I said, that's absolutely what I'm telling you." She goes, "What the blankly blank am I supposed to do without that in my dinner tonight?" Now we're talking. This is 11:05 or something now at night. She's going home to cook this full meal, as she said at that moment, and had to do it without potatoes. I said, "Well, there's always other options, but you're not coming through." And just tore out of there mad as all get out. People always have a reason why they should be able to break rules. No, it's that rebellious nature of man, always thinking, "I'm going to break the rules, and here's why. You should let me." And everybody has their reason. Someone's sick, they desperately need something, they're from out of town, they're this, they're that, and you're like, "I'm sorry." It is not my job to okay it. I don't have that kind of power. Even though you think I do, I will lose my job, and I'm not going to do that for you. If a member of management walks up and says it's okay, which I doubt they will, then I will stand down because they have the say so. I said, but they also could lose their job. So they're not going to let you. Don't do that. And people get mad. So as things begin to close up, people get a little frantic that last 2 hours. I mean, just crazy. I remember I was one time I had never really did like late Christmas shopping. And this is back when, Kmart's were pretty big in retail. And around here, we had a big one, and it was pretty big, busy, and real productive and everything back in the day. And I remember, I think my wife, or it might even been my mom. I can't, maybe it's before I was married. But I remember, like, they, they had to have something, and I don't remember what it was. And they were, well, just go to Kmart. I was like, okay, like, I wasn't thinking nothing about it. I mean, it was just like, okay, yeah, they're still open. Yeah, sure, I'll go get it. There's batteries or something. It's always that way. Oh, we forgot the pack of batteries. We got to have that for this and this. So I said, sure. So I go down, I see how packed it is. And then I realized just what a mess this was going to be, as these lines were all backed up, and I was in there as they were basically, closing the doors. The same thing, trying to get everybody out. We're in these long lines. They said, don't worry, as long as you're in here, you can stay. We just got to lock the doors. And I thought, this is lunacy. why are these people waiting till now to do that? And I was thinking, why did we not have the battery? And got to be a better plan than this. This is crazy. I was really young. I was like, why we do this as a society? I was having all these life thoughts going through my brain as I'm thinking, we really don't have to have batteries. I mean, come on. There's people in front of me there was no express lane. If people in front of me, I was, probably, I don't know, 10th person back in my row, and every row is like that. And I'm glad to be the 10th person because there's people behind me. But everybody in front of me is like, it's like they waited till that moment to do all their Christmas shopping, and every massive bucket, And then it was always like 2 or 3 times during that waiting, it was like, price check. I'm like, no. I went by. I think it's my mom. I said, Mom, don't ever send me back down to that chaos, that zoo at this time. It's got to be a better option. She's like, I'm sorry, son. It was bad. I don't know why we do that. I mean, some people, it's like, I see people run up to the store. It's like 1 minute to go. I got a minute. Yeah, but that means you got a minute to shop. I got to have an onion. It's 11 o'clock at night. I got to have an onion right now. Just crazy stuff, I mean, every once in a while, it'll be, I got to have something for the baby or something, I got to hurry, I know, sir. But it's a lot of times it's just odd stuff. I wanted to look at mirrors. It's 11 o'clock at night. You're running in the door. You got 1 minute to go shop, and you're looking at mirrors. They'll come out. It's legit. They'll come out holding a mirror. Hey, got it. Yeah. Not me, baby. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. My wife would know not to ever ask me to. It would have to be an emergency type thing. Then I would be aggravated that we got in that predicament. It's like, why? Why would we do that to ourselves? That's just like forced torture or something. Like you told yourself, I'm going to make myself go into a pain point today just because. Oh, why do humans do such things? And it's all predictable. I mean, it's all, you can just see it. It's like, well, 5 minutes to go. Here comes the late run. You'll see them flying down the road, flying up in the parking lot. They'll park in handicap. They don't care. It's like they're looking at their clock. And then there'll be those that just miss it. And they pull up and they're like, excuse me, are y'all closed? Well, yes, we are. Well, how long, when did you close? Oh, about a minute ago. They'll say, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Well, I thought y'all were open 24 hours. Good morning there, BB. Rescue Bear. They'll say, I thought you were open 24 hours. When did that start? They get all mad. I'm like, let's see. It was that time when everybody got sick, or they said they were sick or whatever. We haven't been 24 hours since then. It was before my time, actually. I didn't come to work here until after that. But that's what they tell me. And they'll say, well, when are they going back? And I'm like, oh, they tell me no, and they're never going back. It's like they don't even know. And it's like those that come up on Christmas Day. They'll say, when did this start? And I said, well, as long as I've been here, they've been closed on Christmas Day. I can't tell you when it started. And words of wisdom. If you're going to do, hey, and I did it one year. I don't know why. It's crazy. Told my wife she wanted to do it. I was like, okay, if you're going to do the Waffle House on Christmas Day, there are a couple things to remember. Don't wait till lunch. Go as early as you can. It's still going to be crowded, but it won't be the lunacy that occurs later. Where they have just people standing everywhere. Why? I don't even like doing that. Like when you go to a Waffle House or something like that, or anywhere where it's extremely packed, you got all those people that are watching you, and they're just like looking like, okay, he's got one piece of bacon left. I think that's us. We're next, and they'll even be like standing there like, hey, yeah, we're going to be next. Thank y'all for, you can almost see them like, hey, let's get the heck out of here. Hey, what do you mean you're getting a refill on the coffee? You can almost read their mind like, oh, I don't like it. That's not an enjoyable meal experience. Unless you just got that kind of mentality, you don't give a rip. You're like, oh yes, I think I will have another cup of coffee. You can almost hear the groan in the room. Oh, they're getting refills. Somebody says, well, and there's always that person that just comes in. It's like, how long is this going to be? And they talk real loud, like, obnoxious. Like, my gosh. I mean, how long do we have to wait? And they'll be like, it's a 45-minute wait right now. And it'll be over an hour in just a few more minutes. And they're like, and there's people that'll say, hey, no way, I'm out of here. Then you have the lifers. I call them the lifer, the Waffle House lifers. They're going to wait. If you told them it's going to be 3 hours, well, that's fine. Can I just get a cup of coffee as I stand over here? Because that's their life. They do it every day. It doesn't, and I get it. Some people are the truck drivers, the traveling salesmen, whatever. Somebody that has to be, they're stuck. I mean, they probably in a hotel room or living in their truck or whatever. They don't have an option. So they could go to a truck stop, there's all those places that do that, but they're kind of, that's their lifestyle. They live that, but you almost feel like a little urgency, like we should get up, like, we better go. I mean, the crowd's looking a little restless. And as soon as you get up, I mean, like, it's like you have to kind of stand to the side as the people are flying in to your dirty table. They don't even wait for it to get clean, In fact, they'll start stacking all the dishes up and could we have a rag? And they'll just clean their own table. Well, I have at Waffle House, but I have at a couple of places. Now, one of the places that I used to do, it was really actually on Christmas Eve, but it was after everything closed. And it was pretty late at night. I mean, it was 10-ish, 10:30-ish, 11 even. We used to go down and do this Christmas Eve service. Good morning, James. We used to go down and do this Christmas Eve service for this assisted living home in I say Atlanta, but it's really Sandy Springs. And in Sandy Springs, Georgia, for 3 or 4 years in a row, it kind of became, my family loved it. I mean, my wife, my oldest son, and my granddaughter, we would all travel down. I think 3 of my grandchildren went, and they would have usually it was just a beautiful moment. They would have, everything was festive. They had little snacks and things out. They had to do it kind of early, so it was like a 6 p.m. kickoff or 7, I don't know, something like that, and not too late because obviously they just can't stay up late. So they would usually have, I don't want to say the word entertainment. It was a worship service, but one year they had a choir come in. Another year, they had a couple of years of those. They had this lady that come in and she played a combination of Christmas songs and worship songs on the piano, and they would all sing along. And they had cookies and all this stuff and cider, and we would do all that. Then I would preach the service, and I would, you don't preach a long service and something like that. 15, 20 minutes max, and we would do that, and then we would sit around and talk to folks, so you sit around for a while afterwards and you're enjoying the snacks and stuff and talking to the folks. And so you get out and you start traveling back, and there is a one of those travel places that we would stop at. Uh, I'm trying to think of the name of it because anyway, they everything in there was basically closed except for the where you could get the snacks and buy gas, obviously. But there was a restaurant attached there, and for several years in a row, we would stop at that and have that was a place we stopped and had dinner. So it wasn't quite actually Christmas yet, but it was really close. Like I think we were there like I want to say we were always there at 10ish, 11ish, somewhere in there, and then we would come on home. We'd get home kind of late, but it would always be a couple of families that were traveling that would be in there, and you'd have a few truck drivers and stuff like that. The workers, were very, and sometimes they'd be a little more crowded, but usually it was just a handful, and they would have just enough of a crew on. But on Christmas Day, really just Waffle House. I think it may be that I did one other one, but I don't remember. But the options are the options are limited, but there are places. I think here in town, I want to say the City Cafe is another one that doesn't close. They have two locations. I'm not sure if both stay open or one, but I think that's another one that they stay open all the time. It has to be power outage or something for them to close. James, how you doing up there in the great state of Ohio? Merry Christmas to you, brother, and hope you're doing well. And everyone else that's out in the galleries and they're watching but they're not speaking, we say good morning to you on this Christmas Eve. We, like I said, I yesterday my granddaughter was like, we gotta go get a gift for my little brother, and or two little brothers, and so I was like, oh, we forgot that. So we went down to Walmart, but their Walmart was so uh, it was like a ghost town compared to what I'm used to. I was like, I can handle this. I walked right up to the register. I mean, we even went back because we looked at the price wrong and we went up and I'm like, whoa, sticker shock. My granddaughter, by the way, I'm not a shopper per se, but I don't mind going in and getting stuff that I want. But, but I don't mind shopping with my granddaughter, my 13-year-old. And probably all of them are fine. I just usually go with her. She's great to shop with. I mean, because she is like, let's get it. She'd get on to me like if I have to stop and take somebody. I had this happen. We were trying to set up an interview for the podcast, and they were contacting me. So she's like, "Come on, Papa, let's hurry. I mean, let's get out of this place." I love it. Like we go in and we don't we just grab and go. I mean, we know what we want. We shop really quick. We get in line, and my granddaughter knows how to do the whole checkout thing. We'll do self checkout, and she'll check all that stuff out for me. And then we're back out in the vehicle and going. So it's like painless. I mean, as painless can be going in a place like that. I was like, that wasn't bad. But let me tell you, the worst Sonic. I said this before. I asked her. I said, "Do you want an ice cream?" Just because I was dropping her off to be with her family, and I thought, I want to see if she wants the ice cream. And she went, nah. And she said, "Well, are you getting one?" I said, "I don't know, maybe not." She goes, "Yeah, let's go ahead." I'd forgotten how bad this Sonic is. I've got one, two, three Sonics within 15 minutes of my home. One of those is within 3 minutes, 2 minutes. I mean, it's really close. And there's plenty of room. All the boxes work, all this stuff. In Athens, Tennessee, I don't know if y'all have more than one, but God bless you. The workers were excellent. One of the most friendly, chipper helpers that ever come out I've ever met. My granddaughter even said, she said, "Did you like how that girl was serving you?" I said, "I actually love it." She said she did have a upbeat attitude. I said, "She reminded me of you." And she said, "I could see that." She goes, "I could see me being that person, the way she was doing her voice inflections and everything." And I said, "I could see that." But let me tell you about this Sonic. It's very small, first of all. This Sonic, it's ought to be a crime. If you're in Athens, they need to build you a new Sonic. I mean, really. And it's right at the entrance to the Walmart anyway, so it's going to stay busy. They have no drive-through. It's like This is something out of the dark ages. I have been to some things like that were, I mean, we're talking 20 years ago, 30 years ago, maybe 35 years ago, that didn't have a drive-through. Who doesn't have in a setup like that? Who doesn't have a drive-through? So I pull in and I'm like, oh man, I forgot they don't have a drive-through. Like you have to park. It's horrible. I like to grab and go. I mean, I was in a hurry anyway. I had to drive an hour back home. So I'm like, dang. So then the first boxes I come to, they say mobile order pickup. Oh my gosh, I didn't take I don't even have the mobile app on my phone. I mean, nowadays, I mean, who wants to, you can only have so much room on your phone. And every place now that you go to says, will you be using your mobile points now today, sir? Or is this a mobile app pickup or whatever? Drives me crazy. I get it. It's supposed to speed up things, but I didn't go there I don't have the app. Just a long story. I don't have the app. I'm like, oh, crap. Well, on that side of the building, they had a couple that were not mobile app picks up. They were empty. So I pulled up to one, wouldn't you know it, out of order. My granddaughter's even starting to laugh by now because she knows how I am anyway. She's like, oh, man. I'm like, oh, I can't believe it. So I back out and I go around and I see a guy backing out. And I'm thinking, well, I'll just get where he's getting. Oh, no. I noticed that he pulled back in. I said, oh, my gosh. He pulled up to a box that doesn't work. This is horrible. So I see a spot. There's a couple of spots. Another problem that this Sonic has is that the space between boxes is like the smallest I've ever seen in my life. I'm in my Ford Lariat pickup truck. When I say pull in, and it's not even really deep enough for the vehicle to get fully pulled into, so your tail is kind of sticking out to the wind. And when I say there's very little space, I'm talking my mirrors on both sides. It was like I had to reposition when I pulled out because there's no room. In fact, when they bring your order out, it's so narrow they can't walk up to your window because it narrows in. And so when you pull in, as you get in there, you're like almost like a funnel. That's the feeling you have. And the lady she walks up and it's almost like you're reaching back, like, oh, thank you, real uncomfortable. Worst Sonic ever. There's no room. Half the boxes don't work. There's no drive-through, all that stuff. I was like, I can't believe this. And you have at that one, you can you pay at the box unless you have cash, I guess. So I was paying with a card, and I was thinking, oh no, I hope this thing works. Because they hit the button and it didn't change screens. I was like, don't tell me we just ordered on a bad box. But it finally took. And we got our order and it was good and the service was good. But to me, that is the worst Sonic I have ever been to in my life. They need to build a new one. I mean, come on. This is absolutely ridiculous. So you have to have patience, which I'm not. I am known to have increased my patience since I was young. My wife tells me that. She said, you have so much more patience now than you used to have. In fact, she will tell you that she probably has less patience now than I used to, certainly, but we flipped. As she's gotten older, she has less patience for stuff. And I have more. But there are things that push my buttons, as we say. And that really pushed my buttons. I was like, I can't believe this, And I mean, on days like this and during times like this, road rage, I mean, you got to be careful. I mean, people are nuts. They get mad. I mean, they'll chase you down. And, there's always those people that think they're going to walk up to the window. And now you got to be careful. I mean, people are ready. I bet somebody pulled up in James in his El Camino. He's packing. I bet that James has armaments in the El Camino as he drives down the road. And he's not going to put up with somebody coming up to his window, threatening him in a violent way with an inch of his life or his car, his El Camino. He's not going to allow that. Oh. Absolutely, man. By the way, folks, if you're on Rumble, but first of all, if you're not on Rumble, what's wrong with you? always have Rumble as an option. I don't care if you keep the others, but the fort. Back in the old West, they had the forts. You had to have the fallback. The 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 natives were raging. They were at war. You had to have the fort that you could pull back into and get to. So, but Rumble is that. If you're not going to use it first, make sure you have it. But go to Rumble and follow Empty Pockets podcast. James is good people. Don't disrespect my ride. You and your El Camino, I can just see it now. Do you know what you can do with you and your El Camino? And James says, I know what I'm fixing to do with you. How dare you? That's like the dual challenge. Like, oh, it's on now, like Donkey Kong. You have disrespected my El Camino. What is wrong with you? I don't know about around the country, but I can tell you that around here, we have had that person that wants to walk up. Oh, starts at 9 p.m. Okay. Yeah, y'all go over there. I bet you want to stop by if you have not have New Year's Eve plans. Stop by James's Empty Pockets podcast on Rumble, and I'm sure it'll be entertaining. I bet you have a snub nosed revolver in my console. I've never had a snub nosed revolver. Yeah, Wednesday night. I prefer something a little more. I probably shouldn't use that word. We'll say stopping power. I prefer something a little bit more. I don't have to have a 50 cal. Okay. There's no button I push that has it come up out of the top of the vehicle and turn and give like a RoboCop, message, back away from the vehicle or die or something like that. But I definitely, and good morning, Jerry Barrett. How are you doing, brother? Morning to you. But yeah, I definitely have things that I carry that a little bit more than a snub nose. Come on, man. That's like those little derringers or something, Road rage is prevalent around me. People get shot all the time on the road. I was going to say here in the area, we have had people stop and get out of their car, and they didn't have a weapon in their hand, but they came back screaming and threatening, and that was the last words that they spoke in life. I mean, seriously. I mean, people are like, whoa, what is it? They were, they come back like hitting on their car, trying to punch their window out. Yes. I would say check. Either my 45 or 9. Yeah. Yeah, you want to make sure that you get the job done. Oh, I'm glad that Brother Barrett is doing it. Brother Barrett, are you cooking over the holidays? Because you do such a good job cooking. I just wanted to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Preacher man cooking, that's a good thing. But I have seen people carry probably a little bit more than they needed, but wanted a little bit more than a little bit less. So you remember that scene in that movie, Get Shorty? The two mob guys, they both pull on each other. And the guys, look at your gun, man. It always hangs up, and like making fun of it. And he goes, bam, 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 bam. He just drops him. I love that movie. Great character actors in that movie. It just cracks me up. James says, just remember, you can leave them alive and they become a witness against you. They do. Oh, I've heard all that stuff. Drag them inside the door. One extra round. You remember when the guy, evil personified, Fort Hood, that loser, evil loser, You remember in the video, the soldiers were saying, "Shoot him again in the head." I mean, they were wanting the kill shot, and uh, that's what they were screaming for. They know they're training. They know you don't. Your job in that moment is to eliminate, and I don't care what anybody says. Somebody that has actively has caused mass casualty, they're not walking away. No. Um, but yeah, you're right. And even if you here's the crazy thing about it. By the way, we're fixing to have our Second Amendment show start back up, but I just wanted to say, even if you are not charged with a crime, these civil cases and all that, where they will sue you for damages and stuff and medical care and all, you're going to be they're going to bankrupt you. That's what's going to happen. They're going to take everything you got because there'll be a court that will do that. So take it for what it's worth, folks. But if that's what they'll say. And all these people that don't understand, they'll say in the arm, in the leg. Why'd they have to do that? Your training teaches you to shoot the core. I mean, you neutralize, you stop. But anyway, laws are different in different states. But yeah, man. Okay, yeah, he's on the radio show. Yeah, I met James. Absolutely. Sorry, I'm still getting over congestion. I hate that. It has been the hardest this year. I've talked to so many people that went to the doctor and went back to the doctor and went back to the doctor. And um, so, yeah. Well, shoot up mass 8 to 16. But, if somebody is up on like PCP or something like that, they've been known to do crazy stuff. To go through multiple, um, penetrations of bullets and still be going. So it has happened, and people don't realize. And I'm not an expert on anything like this, but I do know this: people misjudge closing speed. I mean, if somebody's coming at you and you're standing still, and they're coming at you. And I've told people this that say, I'm going to buy the little 22 and keep it in my purse. And they have this really false sense of security, and they haven't went to any kind of training or anything like that. And I don't say it in a mean way. I just ask them in a cursory kind of way. Um, do you know how long it takes you to get your weapon out and in a firing position, and how quickly or how many feet can be covered by the person that's coming at you in that same amount of time, how much ground they will cover? And they look at you like, huh? They'll say, I'm going to shoot them. I say, respectfully, if it's within a certain distance, you'll never get a round off. And they get mad at you. They get mad. Don't tell me. I know what I'm doing. I know all about stuff. They just start getting mad. And I'm like, listen, it's mathematics. It's absolutely measurable. I said, call somebody tomorrow. Call someone that does training like this, and you ask them a question. Don't take my word for it. I'm just telling you, you'll never clear your purse. You're going to be a victim. You have to realize this. You have to understand. That's if you get to it immediately. If you have to fumble a split second to get it in and get it up, you're done. And they get mad at you. Sometimes I just keep my mouth shut because they think that you're like some sort of know-it-all, like you're trying to tell them what to do. You're saying they're stupid. It's not a question of intelligence. It's just measurable. I mean, it is what it is. That's why you charge someone with a gun and run from someone with a knife. A great statement. Yeah, you can close very quickly, and there's only so many rounds you can get off in a given time. And if it's 6 feet or less, people don't realize how quickly that person, it's one step. They're on you. One step. And then they're on you. And they're lunging at you and diving at you. And they just don't realize that. I will say they're not even getting the purse open. And I don't even mean just women. Well, there's they carry those. But wherever you have that, you still have to clear it from the holster and being a firing position. Because first of all, if you could, you're going to miss anyway. If you're not in that moment, you're going to be nervous, adrenaline rush. I mean, think about it. You got some big brute, you know, popped up on some sort of hallucinogenic or whatever, and they just got death in their mind, and they're coming at you full bore, and you probably are. If you do get the weapon at even up, there's a high probability due to, because I mean, who gets in that situation every day? You don't. A high probability you're going to miss, or the first shot, even if it hits, is they're just still coming. I mean, after all, they already got momentum, and even if it was a what they call quote unquote the kill shot, there's still going to be that little bit of action where they could still be on you. So anyway, go ask somebody that knows, and I suggest going through a class. There's a guy around here. He's ex police, and I don't know if he's ex military, but I know he's ex police, and he does classes. And I will tell you, there are more women in those classes now than men, and there are many that are taking this seriously, and they say I want to be prepared. And more women, I think, are buying weapons these days than men. It has become they understand. A lot of them understand it. I'm on my own, but there's no way anybody's going to get there in time. I have to walk across a really scary, sketchy garage to get to my job, or have to walk out on the street and walk 2 blocks to get to my car. They realize they understand this, and so they're getting prepared for that just in case. Or someone gets in your building, you're in an elevator, your trap door opens up, and they're coming in on you. I mean, all these things can happen, all these scenarios. It's really crazy. If that were me, I'd do yes. Yeah. It's like the person falling off a ladder that tells you, "Oh, I know how to fall. I will flip around and land on my feet." Dude, they don't even understand. They don't even understand the basis of how long it takes for your brain to cycle information. You don't have even you will be on the ground by the time you realize you're falling from a distance of 6 feet or less. You will be on the ground before you will. There will be no flipping, and it's like they've watched too many movies. They really have. 21-foot rule: attacker will get there in 1.5 seconds. And think about it, it's a pretty good distance when you think about it. 1.5 seconds is very quick, right? I mean, that's 1001. I mean, boom. And you're nervous, scared, adrenaline rush. And if it comes into more of you're in a struggle for, and this is what's going to happen. I've also told them this, and they get really extremely mad at you when you say this. They will take the weapon away from you. They will use your weapon on you and take it from you. Oh no, that ain't gonna happen. They get mad about that. But that absolutely has happened, and people have been slain with their own weapon, and then they take it and do crimes with it, or they're injured. So yeah, it just is a deal. And you have that adrenaline crash. You have the adrenaline rush, where you can do superhuman things within a given specified time. But that falls out pretty quick. That adrenaline dump back out, and that's why you watch any of those police video shows where there's a struggle and they're having to fight off an attacker with a knife or whatever, and once they sort of get them down, other officers came up and they actually make the arrest, put the cuffs on, and this officer falls to the side. That adrenaline dump now they're drained. Their whole body feels like it has no strength, and people think they're out of shape, or they don't. There are some people that I get that, but it doesn't matter how good a shape you're in. You can be an athlete of all athletes. The adrenaline dump is going to come back in, and then you're over there just kind of gather yourself, and it takes a little bit of time. That adrenaline thing is amazing, but it also can work against you. That's why a long struggle is. The officer can lose that because they start, losing, and these people are up on PCP or something like that. They're getting a dump of all kinds of superhuman strength from stuff like that, and pain it doesn't even register in their brain that they're in pain. So it's it's a lot in that. It's those classes they go to can be intense for that. And nowadays all you do live weapons fire, sure, but they have all all the videos and stuff now where you go in and you have. I would love to do that where you go in and it's a domestic and you walk in and that you have to make sure you don't hit the innocent people. You have to neutralize the threat. They have to go through that training and they get graded on that. And if you don't reach a certain grade, I mean, you can't stay certified. But we have one in our town. They've had it for a few years, and my understanding is this. I've seen video of it. They actually did a story on it, and it's crazy stuff. It's like you're surrounded by it. It's like 3D and all this stuff. And you'll see someone acting fidgety over here, but you got someone mad over here, and someone you think they're pulling a weapon, but they're not. And if it's lasered or whatever, how they do that. And it's not real, but it seems real because the videos are amazing. And if you hit the wrong person, then you fail that. And I would love to go through something like that, though. That's crazy. Meaning you aren't drawing and firing and hitting that quickly. Well, there's a lot of people that think they are. Carry PM spray as well to avoid physical contact with someone if they are unarmed and want to fight. I don't want to get bled on or spat on. It's a good point. Very good point. Yeah. And which can be really deadly too. You don't know what somebody's got. And they could have fentanyl, on them or whatever. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I feel for the officers in this. That's why you see them gloving up. People be screaming at officers to help their loved one or someone that's down, and you see them gloving up. Well, you got to do that. You don't know what you're going to get into, and you can be neutralized to the point of death very quickly. So officers have to be very careful with that. And they're there until the emergency services get there. They're the first line of defense for that, and they could get anything on them. You don't know what you're taking down, what they may have. I was watching one of those cop shows one time, and it was a police chase. A big guy. I mean, a big guy. It took like 3 or 4 of them to take him down. And the guy, I guess he was homeless, but he was a big dude. I say big, I'm talking like 6'10", big guy. And he messed all over himself. And they got him cuffed. They got him in the car, and it was disgusting. So they had to take him to this place where they could get a water hose. And they basically just sprayed him down and the car. It was absolutely disgusting. This guy, he had, excrement all over his body. It got in the car. And, they just hosed him down. They had to. I can't imagine how bad intakes are at police stations, how bad that stuff, that smell and everything else they have to deal with. They're hiding drugs on their body. I mean, who wants to do in their job a cavity search or something? Oh my gosh. Leo's breakfast. Breathe that stuff in and they die. So yeah, I mean, I just wouldn't want to have to deal with some of that stuff. Like I said, they're the rogue officers and they're bad and we need to get rid of those. But it's for the most part, you got to get up in the higher ranks to make any real money. The foot soldiers will say they don't make that much, and they have to deal with all the crap, and all the paperwork and all the, you're in court every week because everybody wants their day in court, and you're going in and they're arguing over something, and you have, it's the unglorious part. Hey, Blink, it's the unglorious part of the job is to have to deal with all that stuff. I was at the Walmart one day and doing security in their parking lot, and I saw the officers and loss prevention run out to these one car, And usually they get them in the store. I don't know why I don't know. I didn't know the backstory to it, but they stopped this car, and the officer did. The workers can't do that, but they went out just to tell them. And so it wasn't funny, but it was a very odd thing to see. It was a mother daughter, and they weren't young. I mean, we're not talking about 30 and 15, which or whatever. This looked like a lady near 60, and her daughter, whatever age it was, 40. They were in the little buggies that you ride. So like it's the slow ride back to the store. I didn't see them when they come out. They undoubtedly had rode them out, loaded up the car. When they come out, somebody must have said, "Hey, I think they stole." So they get out there anyway. They have the slow ride back as the officer and the loss prevention agent escort them walking beside these, and then about 20 minutes later, I see the two cars go out, and one is in one police car and one is in the other. Oh, I was like, how sad. I mean, mother, daughter. I mean, like, and for both of them to go to jail like that, they stole quite a bit, hundreds of dollars, hundreds. Because usually they give you a summons to court. You're trespassed off all properties that belong to that particular business, from the gas stations or whatever, forever. You're done. Uh, and they will, release you with your paperwork. But on heavy thefts, you're taking the ride. You're going to jail. Those are felonies. And mother and daughter both took the ride. Oh, it was so sad. And they're disabled. Like, I can imagine when they got the intake, it was probably having to help them stand up and stuff. It's like, good grief. Hopefully they got bonded out quick and can learn their lesson, but I doubt it. I actually doubt it. Mother has taught daughter how to be a criminal, sadly. And they're both, out there committing crimes and making our costs go up. So, I think it's sorry. I don't feel sorry from getting arrested. I feel sorry that they're going down this road in life. They absolutely deserve to be arrested. But anyway, that's pitiful. Good grief. Or I've seen the people who have stolen and they have their kids waiting in the car. I've seen that too. And they have to go out and get they have to go out and get get somebody down there to get the kids if they're taking the ride. It's super, super sad. Just lay them down in the corner of the cell and walk away. Well, I have never, and I'm thankful for it, and I'm not one of those people, but it is a very sad existence to be put in the drunk tank. That is disgusting. They usually will put you in there together, and it is rank disgusting. And someone that is smashed out of their mind, they don't even realize where they are, and they wake up. They wake up, and they're laying in all their own stuff, we'll say. It is disgusting. And they absolutely have a way that can come in there and hose you down and stuff. Yeah, or as you say, people who have the kids help them steal. Oh, yeah. How many people have been arrested putting the stolen merchandise in baby in their car, in their carrier or whatever, and hiding the stuff there? Very, very disgusting. It could get worse though. I've known people who worked in stores, and it was more than $500 worth of theft, and it was mostly meat products, and they had sandwich hams and all that stuff. We'll just say it was packed everywhere that you could put on the body, and they've had to deal with that. They've told me stories. Very, very large individuals will say, around, and there is stuff stashed everywhere. My gosh. I hope we throw that away. Who wants that afterwards? I mean, and they just, I don't want to be mean, but I mean, they're hiding in the fat rolls and other places. I mean, that's what they do. It's It's not their first rodeo. They've done it before. So I would say most people are they're not called in the first one. They've been doing it a little bit. There probably is that person that's they've talked themselves into doing it, for whatever reason, and they do it and they get caught. But most of these people, they're serial thieves. I mean, they've done it a lot. I didn't know. I mean, it opened your mind. What's up, pops? My kids will say that sometimes. What's up, pops? Welcome from Merry Christmas. Welcome from YouTube. But I didn't know this. It's like nowadays they take orders. So, your local thief. So they look online and whether it's a Walmart or whatever it is, they'll look online and they say, "Hey, would you like a I don't know Georgia Bulldog hat?" We'll use that for example. Online, it sells for $15. We'll say 20 because 15 you can't find them for that. We'll say $20. A hat for $20. You're a pops too. Awesome, man. It's the greatest thing in the world. And I'm also a pawpaw and a papaw, and that is jam up the greatest role in life is to be have grandchildren. Don't have great grandchildren yet, but have grandchildren. But anyway, they'll say, "Hey, if you'll pay me $10, I'll get that hat for you." Sure. All right, I'll have it on Thursday. So they go into the store. They have a list, a shopping list, and they go into the store and they will get all these items. Everything is pre-sold after their theft. And one day I went in the store and they grabbed this guy. He had two buggies of stuff. He had, I think it was about $1,500 worth of stuff. $1,500. And they have to catalog all that stuff, take pictures, write the numbers down, all this stuff. It becomes part of the case. But this guy, his plan was just push it right on out like he'd already paid for it. And he had all that stuff pre-sold. They said that's what they do. So they'll have somebody give them $10 for the $20 hat, and we're paying for that loss, man, every time. I mean that gets rolled back into the cost of goods, and we're paying for that, and it just ticks me off. I think anybody can have a little heart. If somebody had a kid and they were desperate and they'd fell on hard times, I'm still not saying it's right to steal, but I'm telling you, if you talk to people in a place like that, workers themselves would probably help you out. They will say, "Why don't you just let us know? Like you got a little baby and need some milk or something? Just let us know. I promise you, we'll do all we can to help get you something, and then we'll get you with some services that we have connections. Don't steal." They will tell you that. Don't steal because they have a big heart. They hate it. I mean, they're situated, but then they got just the plain on just people. They're not good people. So that's just the way it goes. But I wouldn't want to work in that all the time. I promise you, I would not want to work in that job. But I will say this: not everybody can do loss prevention. But as I've been around it, not every day or every moment, as I've been around it, you start to notice the ones that are going to. It's the strangest thing. You start to recognize the profile, and you can either as they walk in or certainly as they're leaving, you can tell by body language and actions. I've seen it so many times. I'd be walking in to go use the restroom. I would come out and I'd say, "This guy looks like he's thieved." It's just you start learning how they react, which is odd. They don't realize what they're doing. They're either trying to act too loose about it or they're nervous. And every single time I've thought that, as we were around the corner, the police were waiting on them, saying, "Stop right there, sir. We're going back to the office." Every single time. One guy was watching. It was just the way he walked, and he had paid for some things, but he stole some blinds, and he's just walking along like Mr. Cool. And I was like, something about his gait just doesn't look right. And I looked at his bag, and it was the way he was holding it. I said, "I think this guy's he's probably. You can't accuse anybody. I mean, that's just the way it is." But they were waiting on him. And then one day I was in and I was just talking to the people that checked the tickets. I was just saying, "Hey, being nice." Well, people coming through, it made them very nervous. I'm standing there in my security uniform. Like, I'm just fixing to go back out the car. I work the parking lot, which can be just as bad at times. And this family comes up, man, woman, couple of kids, and they had done the same thing. They had paid for some of the items, but there were some things. And when they came up, when they came up, I spooked them, and so they were saying the guy the husband, I do part time. I just do security. It's not my job full time. I'm a training manager, but I do it part time on the weekends, Saturdays, just Saturdays now. And hey, they are great to me. I have nothing but utmost respect about how they've treated me as a contracted employee, and I have many friends that work there, and I've been there for several years now, and the customers as well. I'm treated with a lot of respect. We've worked real hard to clean up that store, and we have a great group that's working there on our side, and the store is awesome. And um, I'll just say they have been very gracious to me in bringing me and allowing me. I've even handled stuff inside the store in absence of police officers, and they because I was requested, and I thought I might lose my job, but they absolutely told me later, "We're so glad you were here. We didn't have an officer that could be here, and you helped diffuse the situation." I didn't. It's not. It's outside of my boundaries, but somebody's got to do it. And I actually de-escalated situations and stuff. Their workers uh, locked up, and people were. It was starting to get ugly, and I've had to do that 2 or 3 times. But anyway, the guy, when they pull up, the guy goes, "Hey, gotta have that ticket, us, we don't steal, I got the officer right here." And I'm thinking the whole time, I'm like, you are so full of crap. And I could tell by the way he was acting. And then I looked at his wife, girlfriend, whatever she was, and she was like, had this little silly laugh, you know. It was like, yeah, yeah, we go to jail. And I was thinking to myself, and they said, "Do we show this to you, sir?" And I said, "Oh no, this is this young lady's job right here." And they shook her. See, we got everything on there. We're all good because hey, we wouldn't want to go to jail, laughing, hey, big guy, And around the corner, here they come back, and the guy looked at me, and I was like, "Really?" And one of the things they didn't pay for was dog food, big bag on the bottom of the buggy. I remember that. Really big, like the 25-pound bag or whatever it is. I don't know. Maybe it's a big bag, whatever it is. And that's what they didn't pay for. And I heard the lady going, "We have money. We'll pay for it." Too late, Jack. Too late. But you can tell by the way they act. There are probably misses. But I know that over the first year I was there, this is incredible. The first year I was there, the step up in security, because they hadn't had security in a while. Security, and they beefed up in-store security. They saved over $1 million at that store. Over $1 million. Think about that. And they're still arresting people. It still happens, but it has gotten better. And hey to everybody over there on Instagram side, and Pops, we got a lot. We got Pop. How you doing? Merry Christmas. Um, yeah, you can ask a question. Yeah, I'm sorry, I was not looking right. Those chats don't come in to Streamyard, so I'll have to check different chats. So, but yeah, it's interesting to me. It's interesting to me. Um, I've seen people that have been very. I believe they were very repentant. I've seen the others. They'd be like, "This ain't my first rodeo." They're just they're lifers. They don't care. They're going to do it again. But what happens is they are now banned from all properties that belong to them, the Murphys, whatever it is, and that's worldwide. You are now, if you are caught on property after that, you will take the ride. You will be arrested. You are trespassed off of all property that belongs to that company forever. There is no redemption from that. Once you go over a certain level, that's it. I don't know about small levels. Maybe they still, but I know this. Employees that act up, maybe they've caused a stir, gotten a fight or something. Lost. I've seen that. Acted up with a customer, or whatever, or an employee. They not only lose their job, they are done the same way. You are trespassed from all properties related to that company forever worldwide. That's a stiff penalty. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. Because of all places that you can, it's one of the biggest, and they're everywhere, and you can't go. You can't go. You can't even pull up and get gas. Now you could. You're taking a chance. But if you get found out, you're taking the ride. You have violated the trespass order, and that is everywhere. And I mean that's in their system. So if you got question about something, they pull the ID, and you're gonna take the ride. So, but this is just a failure of. I mean, it's a breakdown of society, and it's going to get worse. I mean, unfortunately, and around the world, uh, I don't go downtown much anymore. But they have. Let me say this about two things about it, and there would be people get mad at me, but I've talked to a lot of people, and I used to do security all over the city. Like I was patrol. I did it part time, and I rode all over the city. Over the last 30 years, they have done an amazing job with the downtown near the river, with all of downtown. It's the city is a recommended destination for people to move to vacation in, and a lot of stuff. It's a beautiful area. They've done a lot to clean up the river part. I mean, the river at one time was a disaster area. It was stank, is old industrial buildings and stuff. They've cleaned that up a lot. They continue to do that, and it is a beautiful city. I will say this: it's a wonderful place to visit. The problem is, here's the problem. That's the pro. The problem is that the crime level is still high. And a lot of people would argue with me about that. And they do fuzzy stuff with the numbers and stuff. Crime is down and all this. It's dangerous. There's danger. Nobody questions that anymore. There was a guy who went down, I think it was a New Year's Eve party. It was a guy that was a financial guy, graduated from one of the private schools in the area. Everybody loved this guy from my understanding. And I have preached in the building that this happened in front of, and he was walking down, and something happened between a guy sitting there. Words were exchanged. This guy gets up and puts the tap to the brain and kills him. All the business owners and stuff, the police shifted how they do downtown operations, and actually put more officers on the streets, a precinct down in there to try to alleviate concerns. There were community meetings about this. This has been a few years ago now, and more and more people weaponed up. We'll say that go downtown, that have businesses downtown they have to go to. That innocence lost is not going to be put back in the bottle, and the city is working hard to try to get that back under control. They never wanted to admit the gang problem that they have. They've had it for a long, long time. They always said that was just outside people. It wasn't homegrown and all this stuff. I've heard it all from the homeless and everything. It's all outside. It's not homegrown, but it is nice. But you have to be on guard. You really have to. I would say you need to if you're allowed to legally carry, and put that in there. It is it is. There are dangers depending on where you are. I've done security at downtown hospitals as well, and you have to be very careful. I've dealt with some really deranged individuals that walk up on the property, and so at night when I do rounds every hour, inside and outside of the hospital, and at night it gets a little hinky to do that, so you have to be careful. Meaning they would say that it's not locals, it's outsiders that are coming, and they're transient. They're not from here, and that's not the problem. But that's not true. I know for a fact it's not true. There are people that have been here for a long time, and they are very, very deranged. There's a problem there. They're crazy. Now there are people that come in from outside the city too. I've met them. I saw a guy once. He come in with a army backpack on, packed out. I was working the downtown library, and we dealt with the gangs there every day, pretty much. But we had police backup, was really fast. It was great, but it was nighttime leaving there. We had a protocol to go through to get the employees out safely. We came out last. We came out through, I won't say what area because that probably wouldn't, they want me to share that. But we came out at entrance, different from them, making sure the building was locked up. In my role, we were not supposed to have weapons of any kind, and you always had to walk at least 2 blocks to get to your car. And we'll just say we did what we had to do. I'll say that. But we had threats made on us during the day. They would say, me and my me and my boys are coming back tonight. We'll take care of you. If we had to kick them off the property and stuff, they would make threats like, yeah, we'll be back tonight. Me and the homies, me and the posse, me and whatever. And you tell police, and they just like, they're not going to do nothing. They're just running their mouth, and it was rough. Yeah, I see every urban area has people from everywhere, whether or not it's homegrown. Hey, the crime is there no matter the source. Welcome to Anytown, USA, and that is absolutely true. There's always those areas of the city you don't want to be in any time of day, really, but especially at night. And you need to walk in groups. When we did the shutdown at the library, all the workers would go. We locked all exits or entrance, and we let them out. We had everything locked at a certain time, and we'd be getting people. We would do a building sweep, multi-floor. We would sweep the building, and we would then unlock the door and let the employees out who traveled in groups and looked for each other, out for each other as they got to their cars. Then we locked down, we're setting alarms and stuff, and then we had to go out a different entrance. And once you went out that door, there's no going back in. So you were outside. Usually, I think we were. I'm trying to remember. I think we shut down the library at 9, 10 o'clock, something like that. I think it was 9 o'clock, and then we would go out. So it's dark already usually, and by the time we got out of the building, and then we had to go to our car, and it was you just couldn't park right there at the building. You couldn't do it because you came in, it was really busy, and you have to park where you're at. So we would escort each other, but threats were made. Absolutely, threats were made, and we never had any trouble after the fact. But there was one night we were really concerned. We had a violent episode in the library where we did have to call police, and they told us that this person would come back. They were highly dangerous, and if they came back, not to engage them, to call them immediately. And this person made threats, so that not leaving was. You want to talk about being amped up and really, I mean, we asked them to come back, and they said, no, we can't do that. We can only come back if we're called, if there's a problem. So it's like we don't do that. I mean, they're not private security, and I get it, but it's bad when the security needs security. But I will tell you, and I won't use names. Um, there were weapons on person, even though they said don't do that. You're not allowed to do it. You got to live. Dad is dead. I mean, it's crazy how bad crime is in small towns in the U.S. anymore. I'm not. Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, it's everywhere, man. Drugs, and that. Hey, I've told you I was in Pawnee, Shawnee, Oklahoma. I'm trying to remember which one it was. They had gangs that were coming in on churches, live service, multi people, a dozen or more, and coming in and putting people on the floor and robbing them, beating up people, pistol whipping people, ripping rings off of people's head. Church services. The local police told the pastors, you and your congregation need to be armed up. We've had several churches hit. By the time we get here, it's over. We're a small force. You're going to have to defend yourself. That's been at least 15 years ago that I was there. A good right around 15 years ago, maybe 16, and that's what the pastor told me. He preached. He had his sidearm on his belt. He said all the men and some women were trained and ready to go. He said if they came in their church but they weren't there, they desecrated the church. They spray painted horrible stuff on the pews and walls. They not only stole, they did damage, and they mocked them on the spray paint and stuff. The pastor was very upset. They had cleaned it up. It cost the church a lot of It was very. I mean, it just shocked. It was a shocking thing, and so they said his message to me was, "We are ready, and if they come in here, we will drop them." And I mean, it made me feel a little like, wow. I mean, I'd never been around anything like that. I mean, I come from an area where nobody ever did that. The door was always open. That changed a few years ago, and a lot of your small rural churches out on a lonely highway, they started locking the door, and they would put a man at the door who would check after the services started to let people in, if because they were perceiving threats. and several of the men were now packing, and the pastor had a weapon underneath the pulpit to get to if he needed it. They didn't tell everybody because they didn't want people to feel bad, or some people freak out and stuff like that. But the men all got together and had a security plan, and had it in place, and those things are still going on. And these are country, rural worship places of worship, and they just realized it's getting dangerous. We have to do something. So, hey, again, Merry Christmas. I need to get off of here, and we'll be back on tonight at some point. I'm working out what I'm going to do tonight, but we'll be back on at some point. Have a safe day out there. Get your shopping finished, and unless you're already done, enjoy your time off with your family, and blessings to you all wherever you're coming from. And interesting talk today. I didn't plan on. That's what I like about chat. I didn't come in today with any kind of a thought. In fact, I didn't even tell. It is a National Eggnog Day. By the way, it is. Thank you, Broski. It is National Eggnog Day. I didn't do the national days today, but it is National Eggnog Day, and I don't like eggnog. I'm not a fan. I also want to tell you your Bible verse is Ephesians 5:20, giving thanks always for all things unto God and the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I do want to get that in. And there is a birthday or two I wanted to recognize today. I got talking and didn't cover it. Lemmy. It is Lemmy's birthday today. If you don't know who Lemmy is, and I have to say the rest of it, you're not knowledgeable. Lemmy was born in 1945. He died in 2015. That's all you have to say. If you don't know who Lemmy is, go look it up. Ricky Martin is 53 today. Ryan Seacrest is 50 today. These are all folks that I know of and are familiar with. And I think I had one more that I wanted to cover. Devontae Adams, yes, the football player, 32 years old today. God, it seems like he's been around longer than that. 32 years old today. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday to you. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully we'll see you this evening. Like, follow, share, all that stuff. It does help. I've been on that side of it, and I've always tried to help people out. I appreciate it if you do. And have a great day out there. We appreciate you very much. And I do sincerely pray all blessings on your families. And if you're struggling today, you're having some sort of problem out there, Devontae Adams has a Taco Bell in his house. Wow. Interesting. Man, I'm not that big a fan. All right. Salute. God bless. Get the music.
All I need talking biscuit board proud. Static crackles like a rattlesnake's tail. Voices rolling like a freight train